Hello. Actually, excuse me, I am a little under the weather, but we are here for our first match of the OFC Off Season for Scarlet and Violet. So, we've got our first match here. Kind of can do this in any order, but I'm doing this in order played. However, a couple of these will be post-commentary, including this one. So, our first match is up against Crazy, one of the owners of the league, which I feel like I have played before, but memory evades me because OFC has been a while. So, we may have played before, we may have not. I can't remember, and if so, I apologize. Their team is pretty scary, though. They have Meowscarada, Sandy Sharks, Tinkerton, Quillfish, Colossal, Kilowattrel, Sliverwing, and the Dunsparce, with their Terra captains being Kilowattrel and the Dunsparce. Now, from the game that I saw them play, they actually brought Terra Ice Kilowattrel, which is terrifying because that can absolutely ruin my team. So, yeah. Sandy Shocks is relatively bulky as well, and also with a combination of steel, electric, and ground, can ruin my entire team. Sliverwing is extremely strong and does a lot of damage, and with the combination of bug fighting and fire, kind of does a number on my team. Meowscarada I've got decent answers to, I'm thankfully not too worried about that. Tinkerton, kind of the same deal. The Dunsparce, I have no idea what it's going to do if it comes. Quillfish could come, but I feel like going into this, I expect probably Meowscarada, Sandy Shocks, Tinkerton, Kilowattrel, Sliverwing, and then I guess Quillfish or Colossal. I guess one of the two. Maybe Quillfish to have something to switch to Arcanine. But that's really all. I guess Colossal, could do the same thing. So I guess one of the two Hazard Setters. I believe Colossal can Rapid Spin as well, so maybe they bring it for that reason. I have no idea what the Dunsparce is going to do if it comes. We'll have to figure that one out. So, the team I brought was a little interesting. So we're starting off with Physical Defensive Arcanine. This is my best answer to switching into Sliverwing. It's pretty much my only answer to switching into Sliverwing. The defense investment, believe means I can take 2 close combats from Sliverwing. I don't remember if it was Life Orb or not. I made this team like a couple weeks ago. And then there's a little bit of special attack investment in there as well. I think that actually helps pick up the Oko on Meowscarada with Flamethrower, because we are going special rather than physical, because I need some special attackers. So, Will-O-Wisp, Morning Sun, Flamethrower, and Roar. If I can get Hazard set up, roaring things around would be quite nice, because I do have a lot of mons that like to pivot, with Meowscarada, Sandy Sharks, Kilowattrel, Sliverwing. That's a lot of mons that want to pivot out, and, you know, all of those will not appreciate continuously taking rocks chips, so would be nice, especially if they're gonna like try and switch into Sandy Shocks or something, and then just boom, they get roared out and just take extra chip, and it comes Meowscarada, and then they've got to pivot out of that, because Arcanine can decently take on Meowscarada as well, so which is quite nice. Next up, I didn't expect to be bringing this so soon, but Scarf Bombardier. It just does really well here. The triple stab of Brave Bird, Knockoff, Stone Edge, and then Parting Shot, which I was tempted to be U-turn, but I feel like Parting Shot was just a little bit better. Because it's a fast Pokemon, giving a Parting Shot to let my bulky Pokemon come in, I felt like was going to be more important. But yeah, we don't need to go Jolly unless I'm trying to outspeed other Scarfers. Despite their team having 2 Pokemon faster than my fastest Pokemon, we can still go Adamant and, you know, outspeed everything. So, really, really nice. Really good for picking up revenge kills. Because our actual fast Pokemon isn't quite so fast and it's doing something a little bit interesting. Offensive Cyclizar. This is a shift gear setup Cyclozar. And the theory is, if Tinkerton goes down, this can do a lot of work. It needs Double Edge to be doing the damage that it needs to, but with a bit of Rock's Chip here and there, Cyclozar can do pretty good work. With normal and water coverage, it pretty much is all it needs. Just the Dragon kind of means I don't take more recoil because I have to run Shift Gear and Life Orb. So yeah, kind of unfortunate. We haven't gone Adamant though. We've gone Jolly. Because the speed investment means we still outspeed Sandy Shocks without the Shift Gear boost. The Shift Gear boost means we'll outspeed the Meowscarada and the Kilowattrel afterwards, and it also gives us the room to run a lot of Bulk. Now, while running Bulk with a Life Orb isn't exactly the best of ideas, it needs the power. It just needs the power to actually get KOs. Aqua Tail is there for the Colossal. As I say, this thing can't really touch Tinkerton, so yeah. Tinkerton kind of has to go down for Cyclozar to be doing anything. Next up, Bully Spadef AV Great Tusk. This is my only shot at not just auto-losing to Sandy Shocks, because Sandy Shocks can wreck my entire team except this. So, we are still able to go Adamant and be like 3 hit KO. Well, I think it's 3 or 4 hit KO'd by Earth Power, I think it's a roll. And then Earthquake, Close Combat, Stone Edge, and Rapid Spin. The Rapid Spin speed boost can be nice, it depends how fast some of their Pokemon are. But it does mean that after a speed boost, I think we barely miss out on like max speed Sandy Shocks. But I think we get Pokemon like Sliverwing, because Sliverwing I think is like 95. Or is it 81? Yeah, it's actually quite slow. But it means we'll outspeed, like, any non-speed invested Pokemon, like, up to, like, Sandy Shocks. And then, like, if stuff speed invested, like the Sliverwing, then we should outspeed it. But I'm not really going for the speed boost kind of kill, because this is pretty much here to make sure I don't just lose to Sandy Shocks. So. Next up, Fizdef Orthworm with dual hazards, Stealth Up and Spikes. Body Press is the only attack you move in the Protect because this thing has no way to recover outside of Rest, so Lefty's Protect is going to have to do it. They have no immunities to Body Press, and Body Press just generally hits everything really hard. Like, the only things that resist Body Press are Quillfish, who is not going to touch me back and I can just set up a million hazards on it, unless it taunts me, I guess. And Sliverwing, which if Sliverwing's in, I am GTFOing. So, yeah. But it's really good at, again, dealing with Meowscarada. This deals with Tinkerton really well. And it gives me hazard access, which is really, really nice. Could also deal with the Dunsparce, depending on what it does. But, yeah. Orthworm just has a lot of utility here. And last but not least, we've got Assault Vest Slowbro. This is something I have used in the past and found quite successful, Assault Vest Offensive Slowbro. While they don't have a lot of special attackers of their own, the Assault Vest does mean that we can at least take a hit from Kilowattrel and then, you know, KO it back, with Ice Beam with Ice Beam, just because it's so frail. But if you look at the team, because of the great coverage that Slowbro gets, Surf, Ice Beam, Surf, Psychic, Ice Beam, Fire Blast hits everything on the team for at least neutral damage. And most of them for super effective. The only one it doesn't get, I believe, is the Dunsparce. So, yeah. Like, just the amazing coverage that Slowbro gets really allows it to actually have some offensive presence in this game. So, which is nice, because I need some special offense, and the coverage it gets really helps. And where my other suspect choices are Bombardier, which can do damage, but it's more so going to be a revenge killer. Cyclozar, which if it gets anything done, I'll be impressed. And then Great Tusk, which is just Adamant 4, which granted, that still makes it like equivalent to Adamant 100, base 100s. So like, Adamant Victini would have the same attack as Great Tusk right now, which is kind of wild to say. So, yeah. still gonna be a pretty interesting game. So let's actually get into said game. So we see their team here, and we see no Quillfish and no Dunsparce. Those are the two they elect not to bring. They have the Colossal, which can switch into our Arcanine, whether it's Flame Body or a Steam Engine set. That could be kind of scary. But regardless, unless they have a Scarfer of their own, I feel pretty safe leading Bombardier here. So, we're going to lead Bombardier, and they lead with Slitherwing. So I look up the calc, and I go, okay, the only way that this kills me, I think, is if it's banded. I'm pretty sure I take one hit from it. And that's with first impression, because this does get first impression. So I'm like, okay, that's the only way I think I die. I'll stay in, I'll go for it. And then I died at first impression. I'm like, okay, so it's banded. So I'll bring in Cyclozar and try and get my setup. And then as soon as I do that, I realize that that's a dumb idea, because they're just going to, like, switch into, like, probably Tinkerton. And I can't get my sweep going. So I just double into Arcanine, and they go into Colossal, because they want to just, like, try and get me with a burn on a U-turn. So, yeah. Not a great switch on my part, and already things aren't going great. They can easily get up rocks here, but I at least get a free switch into Slowbro. Instead, they go for a Will-O-Wisp, expecting the Great Tusk to come in, but I'm absolutely preserving my Great Tusk, so Slowbro eating the burn is absolutely fine with me. And now I kind of get to launch off a big hit for 3, because nothing really wants to take a Surf. Like, the only resist they have is Meowscarada, and that's still not going to appreciate it. So, I think I call it, though. I go for it, I call the Meowscarada switch, and I just barely don't get it. I think it was a 50-50 roll to get it with that Fire Blast. I'm like, the only switch into Surf is Meowscarada. I go for it, and I get it, but it lives on 2%. If I got Hazards up earlier, if I'd, like, used that turn to go into Orthworm, instead of going to Cyclozar instead of Rocks, that would have been amazing. But instead, here we are. So. I think I just go into Arcanine. Yeah, I just go into Arcanine just to kind of make sure I'm safe. I think I'm saving Orthworm for the Tinkerton, just in case. And they just opt to stay in and go for a Cloud Trick, just expecting themselves to die. But instead, I messed about a bit, because I kind of expected them to U-turn the first time and try and save it, so I just went for a Morning Sun. And then the second time they go for it, and I try and kill them, and then comes Sandy Shock, and it does, like, a lot. But it takes a good chunk from the Flamethrower, which is quite nice. Now, I only have one switch into this, and that is the Great Tusk. So, we take it, and I look at the calc, and I see, okay, that's Specs damage. So, good to know, it's Specs. That means it's not going to be that means it's stuck doing that. So, I think I just go for the Earthquake, just trying to get a kill. Because the worst thing that comes in is Kilowattrel, which comes in now. So, I decided to go into Slowbro, because I want to see, like, how much damage it's doing. I didn't want to just let it Terra Ice me. And I've got the Assault Vest, so I can kind of see what it wants to do. So, it goes for this here, and I look, and this is also Specs, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But that also means that I'm kind of safe with, like, Orthworm, because I'm a bit more safe with Orthworm now, so I can just go to Orthworm, and then it T-bolts me, and I go, what? But my calcs say this is Specs. So apparently, if you use the calc, which let's bring it up real quick here. So if you use the calc and you set Terra types, that removes the other stabs. So, for example, let's put in Hurricane. So it does 87 to 103 to Sabomasnow. If you put in Terra Electric... Oh, it's fixed now. Figures it's fixed now that now I tried to prove a point. But when I was actually doing the battle, it broke. So it wouldn't show, it would only show the stab Terra type. So I was getting reads that it was a Specs one, and as a result, my calc on the what's it called? The calc on the Sandy Shocks was also wrong. So, and I did not realize this until most of the way through the battle. So I was trying to figure out what was wrong. So Orpheum just took a huge hit for no reason. I just go for a Protect, trying to get some health back because I kind of need to. And at this point, I'm like, well, the only thing I can really do is go into Cyclozar and just kind of do something about it. I get quite lucky here, and I get a Hurricane dodge, which is really nice, because that thing would have ruined my team. I think the Hurricane would have killed, and then I would have just had to bring in, like, Great Tuscan Bray, I think. This is, like, all I can really do. So I do get quite lucky there. So they bring in Tinkerton, because they realize they probably can just wall me. And because Orpheum's taking too much damage, I kind of have to go and Arcanize my switching. So I try and go for a Flamethrower here. It fails because the Para looks like they're more of a defensive Tinkerton, which is really nice because I was worried about Swords Dance Tinkerton. But I also don't get to see if it's Flame Body or Steam Engine. Not sure how good Steam Engine would be, but you know, it's a thing. So they double out here into Sandy Shocks, expecting me to go Slowbro, which was a great double on their part. So I go to Great Tusk, I go for a T-Ball, they go for a T-Ball, and I'm still in belief that it's a Specs one, but then this is where I realize it's not, and I'm like, oh. So, Great Tusk has taken a little bit more damage than I would have liked, but it's still able to get the kill, and they bring in the Sliverwing to get to clean up there. So here I have to go Arcanite, my only switch in. I'm like thinking, do I try and call the Colossal switch? And if so, if I try and call it, what do I do? Or do I just go for a Flamethrower? I'm like, I think I just try and go for a Flamethrower because I can't really risk. Oh, and no, I do call it. I do call the switch. I'm like, the only switch into here is Colossal. So I go for it because I still feel, even though I'm up in Mons, Slitherwing can absolutely just clean up the rest of my team. So I kind of need to make a bit of it. Because, like, Orpheum's low, Cyclozar's low, and we'll just get first impression, and also can't deal with the Tinkerton. So we kind of need to do this, and then I think I just try and go for a Surf, just trying to get damage. Just because, like, Surf kind of hits everything. And it looks like they're pretty bulky on this Tinkerton. So I just stay in because I want to make sure it's damaged. Oh, that was it. I went for the Fire Blast because I thought looking at that damage, Fire Blast was going to kill. But because it missed and got that little bit of lefties, Fire Blast will no longer kill, which kind of makes up for the Hurricane miss earlier, because that was a dead Tinkerton. And that was one less stack they had for Sliverwing. So Slowbro kind of needs to make sure it's healthy, so I get it out, go into Orpheum, because they just go for a knockoff. Orpheum doesn't really have a lot left in it, but it can still body press for some decent damage. Or I get up rocks, that's it, yeah. Because I knew like I needed to get some chips somewhere, and Colossal being weak to rocks was going to be nice as well. So forcing that to take damage was going to be nice. Go to Arcanine because they have to. They go for close combat, and that does a lot of damage. And then they go for it again, and they get the roll in their favor, which kills me. And I'm like, that's bad. So we can actually calc it now. So I'm 228 defense versus Sliverwing. This is one I didn't actually end up checking because I was just like tilted at the calc, because I think at this point I realized the calc had gone. Yeah, so it's not banded. And so they got a low roll the first time and then kind of a mid roll the second time. But because I didn't have my lefties anymore, because I had to take the knockoff from the Tinkerton earlier, because I couldn't bring in Orpheum because it was got too low. No, I took the knockoff from the Meowscarada, that was it. And then, like, Tinkerton was too scary for me to lose Orpheum, and so losing the lefties there kind of cost my Arcanine. So the calc really fucked me here. Obviously, it seems like it's fixed now, but for the match, it really fucked me over. So we go into Cyclozar. I just go for the double edge because I can't risk it, and it gets the Flame Body proc. That's super unfortunate because I have Aqua Tail an Aqua Tail will do a good chunk to this thing. Even if it's not a kill, which I kind of expected it would be. I go for it here just to try and go for it, but it wouldn't have killed, but it would have put it way lower. So, really unfortunate, but Colossal does get to live. Cyclozog dies. It goes for a Power Gem. I guess it's not carrying rocks, or just wants to make sure that I die. So I bring in the Slowbro, and I'm like, Slowbro is my only shot. Slowbro has to do it, and somehow this stupid bug thing, Slitherwing, has to have no other bug move other than First Impression. That is my only shot at winning this game. So they bring in the Slitherwing. I have to go into Orthworm. They go for the First Impression. I do live. And then they go into Tinkerton because they want to save their First Impression. I have to call that. Because I'm like, they don't go for a... If they've got a bug move, they don't go for it here. I have to go Slowbro. I have to call this right. So I call it right. They go to Tinkerton. They knock off my Assault Vest. Oh, my Assault Vest is gone, actually, already. I forgot it earlier. We see that the Fire Blast actually would have killed even after the lefties. But we were able to take it out. Slowbro's super low. So, it's got to have no bug move. I go out into Orthworm, and they just go for close combat, trying to wrap it up, because that would have killed the Slowbro anyway. And then I say here, GG, I lost this because the damage calc fucked up, which is really unfortunate. Sad way to go out. And then I live. And I kill it with a Psychic. And they said they had U-turn. And they just got a max roll on that close combat. And because of that, we win the game. They thought it would kill. I thought it would kill. I thought close combat, because of how low I was, would kill. And in my mind, it was still, like, banded. Because of all the calcs going wrong. I was just in my mind, everything was choice that wasn't, like, clearly not choice. So I thought it would kill, and it just didn't. And as a result, Slowbro clutched it out for us. And we get maybe the most narrow 1-0 victory of all time. But we did. So, yeah. Do I feel good about this? Absolutely not. Because there were a ton of, like, technical problems on my end, and then, like, there was some hacks going around with some Hurricane misses, and then Fire Blast misses, and Flame Body Burns, and then it just ends like that. Not the most climactic game on the planet, but it is a W, and, you know, we take those, I guess. So, that is gonna do it for this match. 3 more to go in this portion of the bracket. If we do manage to secure enough wins, I think 3 wins will guarantee it make us through to the next round. I believe it is. So we need 2 more wins. Let's see if we can get them. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.